made some comments about our skin color. It was something like, do you know that if you don't bathe, you get dark? अगर आप long term जापान में रहना चाहते हो, तो फिर Japanese culture और Japanese language सीखने का इससे बेहतर तरीका कोई नहीं है. So basically, I learned Hindi through Bollywood movies. Whenever we go to my parents' house, she's like, today I made this, all vegetarian.
Wow. Sat Sri Akal everyone and welcome back to another episode of Indo-Japan Journeys. आज के जो हमारे गेस्ट हैं, जो अब तक के इंटरव्यूज हुए हैं, उनमें सबसे अलग है. Reason behind, because she is not an Indian, but she is not a Japanese as well. She is half Indian and half Japanese. She was born and raised in Japan. कैसी उनकी स्कूलिंग थी, कैसे उनका बचपन था, क्या क्या उनको चैलेंजेस आए, जापान का एजुकेशन सिस्टम कैसा है, यहाँ पे करियर की क्या अपॉर्चुनिटीज है, बहुत सारी डिटेल में कन्वर्सेशन हुई है. This is going to be very very helpful for those who wants to come to Japan to know about Japanese culture and who wants to raise their kids in this Japanese society. Enjoy today's podcast and don't forget to subscribe to the channel because there are more informative and motivational videos coming. And with that, let's welcome Marisa Uno in today's episode. Hi Marisa.
Hi Vikas-san.
First of all, thank you so much for coming all the way from other side of Tokyo.
So thank you for having me.
Let's start with your background. थोड़ा सा अपने बारे में बताओ.
ठीक है, तो मैं बेसिकली जापान से हूँ, टोक्यो से, और मैं मिक्स्ड भी हूँ. Basically I'm half Malaysian Indian and half Japanese, but मैं Japanese हूँ nationality wise.
So when you said like you are mixed, तो family में who is of what nationality?
Okay, so my mom is Malaysian Indian, so basically she's of South Indian Tamil origin, and my father is Japanese.
Okay. And where did you born?
Okay, so I was actually born in Kawasaki.
Oh.
Yeah, so we checked this last night and I was like, oh, I was born in Kawasaki, I'm going to Kawasaki. Bit of an excitement. Yeah.
Okay, great. So how was your upbringing in Japanese society with mixed parents? So how was it?
So it was interesting because when I was small, my mom really tried that she bring us up, me and my sister up in like a very Japanese way. She wanted us to be very Japanese, so certain things were quite strict, I would say. Like how Japanese, especially back then, like parents were pretty strict, and they were so particular about our behaviors in public and things like that. And then another thing was when I was actually raised in Tochigi, which is outside Tokyo, right? So there were some sort of like a cultural struggles in us when we moved to Tochigi, because it's like back then Tochigi was a very closed kind of place, and you rarely see foreigners, and even more rare people of color, I would say. So yeah.
Okay.
But it was an interesting childhood upbringing, I would say. Yeah.
Okay. When you mentioned like your mother was strict, so do you have some stories, like how was it?
Okay, so I think we were kind of supervised more, in the sense that we were not allowed to go out as much as other kids, or like maybe hang out freely with kids around.
कि मदर ऐसे भी स्ट्रिक्ट थी क्या कि जैसे ट्रेन में ऊंचा नहीं बोलना, या फिर don't eat in the train? Was it like that also? Because that is like typical Japanese.
वो सब तो थे, लेकिन बेसिकली शी वाज वेरी स्ट्रिक्ट अबाउट जिस तरह हम बिहेव करते हैं पब्लिक में, और also she was very particular about certain things like जब हम खाना खाते हैं तो basically we were not allowed to eat outside, like hang out बच्चों दूसरे बच्चों के साथ करते हैं, तो तब भी हमारी काफ़ी मतलब सुपरविजन थे.
Let's talk about your educational journey. First of all, what kind of school did you go?
Okay, so I had mostly Japanese upbringing, so from KG to high school I went to Japanese schools.
Was it a public school?
So for elementary and middle school I was in public schools, and then for high school I went private.
Okay. And was there any specific reason कि public से private में change किया या फिर?
Basically बस यही थे कि private में admission मिलना easy था, तो ये बात थी. और एक ये school थी जो मेरी high school थी, उसमें एक course अवेलेबल था कि जिसमें जो बच्चे पढ़ते हैं वो एक साल के लिए बाहर सेंड करते हैं, भेजते बाहर, तो स्टडी अब्रॉड का कोर्स था.
ओके, ये आपके प्राइवेट स्कूल में था? ओके, तो एक ये भी मोटिवेशन थी प्राइवेट स्कूल ज्वाइन करने की, दैट यू विल गेट चांस टू स्टडी अब्रॉड फॉर 1 year. ओके, इंटरेस्टिंग. तो स्कूल में एज अ आई वुड से हाफ, क्योंकि जापानीज यही बोलते हैं ना, राइट? तो कभी ऐसा कोई डिस्क्रिमिनेशन फेस किया स्कूल में, इनसाइड स्कूल और आउटसाइड स्कूल?
दिस इज़ अ गुड क्वेश्चन. मैं पर्सनली ज़्यादा महसूस नहीं हुआ बचपन में, बट जैसे कि मेरे सिस्टर थी, उनके लिए थोड़ा ये ज़्यादा था.
ओके, सिस्टर आपके बड़ी
बहन है.
बड़ी बहन है, ओके.
तो उनके साथ क्या हुआ कि वो एबेकस के स्कूल में जाते थे, मतलब एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर क्लासेस जाते थे. तो वहाँ कुछ बच्चे थे जिस they made some comments about our skin color. It was something like, do you know that if you don't bathe you get dark? So when my mom heard this, she was so upset, and so much so that she told our school principal about it. And then the school principal asked my mom to actually have a lecture in front of the school teachers of the whole city.
Wow.
तो ये एक एक्सपीरियंस थी.
ओके, तो फिर आपकी मदर ने वो लेक्चर दिया सबको?
जी.
ओके, सो आई थिंक दैट लेक्चर वाज जस्ट टू स्प्रेड अवेयरनेस.
यस.
सो दैट टीचर कैन टेल टू द स्टूडेंट्स कि खाली वाइट या पेल स्किन नहीं होता, देयर आर मेनी डिफरेंट कलर्स, एंड इट्स नॉट बिकॉज ऑफ यू आर नॉट टेकिंग बाथ, समथिंग लाइक दैट. ओके.
और हाँ, बेसिकली ही ऐसे कमेंट करना अच्छी बात नहीं होता है.
राइट.
सिखाने के लिए.
एंड जापानीज पब्लिक स्कूल में, क्योंकि यहाँ पे ना हमारे बहुत सारे इंडियंस आते हैं, वो अपने बच्चों को डायरेक्टली इंटरनेशनल स्कूल, इंडियन इंटरनेशनल स्कूल, उनमें भेजते हैं. सो हाउ वाज योर एक्सपीरियंस स्टडिंग इन अ जापानीज पब्लिक स्कूल?
सो बेसिकली इतना खास बुरा नहीं था. It was very good. Like generally the Japanese public school education is good in the sense that it's let's say wholesome, like you get a bit of everything, and it's not really that stressful. If you think about, like, as far as I know, इंडियन स्कूलिंग सिस्टम में बहुत कंपटीशन होता है, और ऐसा नहीं है जापान में, क्योंकि बेसिकली यही फोकस होता है उनका कि बच्चों के जो पर्सनालिटी है वो डेवलप करना है और अच्छे मैनर्स इंस्टिल करनी है.
ओके.
तो ऐसे ही थे.
Okay.
It was good.
Nice. So what do you say to those parents जो अपने बच्चों को सिर्फ यहाँ पे इंडियन इंटरनेशनल या फिर इंटरनेशनल स्कूल्स में भेजते हैं? Would you suggest them कि हाँ वो अपने बच्चों को जापानीज पब्लिक स्कूल में भी भेज सकते हैं? It's a good option or bad option? What do you say?
So यही I can understand the parents who send their kids to Indian schools or international schools because उनके जो focus होते हैं वो English language पे होता है ज़्यादा. And also in case of there are small things like school lunch. तो अगर इंडिया में तो ज़्यादा हिंदू लोग होते हैं, वेजिटेरियंस होते हैं, फूड रिस्ट्रिक्शंस भी हो सकता है, तो थोड़ा सा अगर ये सब अरेंज करना है तो कम्बरसम हो सकता है. लाइक बच्चों को लंच बॉक्स लेके जाना इंडिया में शायद नॉर्मल है, पर क्योंकि जापान में नॉर्मल नहीं है,
राइट.
सो बच्चों को थोड़ा सा मतलब डिफरेंस महसूस कर सकता है. बट I think it's not a bad idea actually to put their kids in Japanese public schools because अगर आप long term जापान में रहना चाहते हो तो फिर जापानीज कल्चर और जापानीज लैंग्वेज सीखने का इससे बेहतर तरीका कोई नहीं है.
राइट.
और रही बात इंग्लिश की, इंग्लिश आप खुद सिखा सकते हो बच्चों को if possible. But yeah, I do understand because reality यही होता है कि जापानीज लोग इंग्लिश बोलते नहीं है.
करेक्ट.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, yeah. We will come to your languages journey also. But yeah, that's a really good point कि English तो हम खुद भी सिखा सकते हैं बच्चों को, तो that's not a big deal अगर सिर्फ आप English का फोकस कर रहे हो. But if you have any other reasons like you want to stay here for short term, उसके बाद you will move out, then it makes sense. But if you have planned to stay in Japan, then yeah, as you said,
Yeah.
Public school is also a really good option. And एक और चीज़ पब्लिक स्कूल्स के बारे में I wanted to know, is it like free, totally free, or do you pay some fee?
Mostly free होता है. In most cases I think the kids just have to pay for school lunch. मेरी स्कूल में तो monthly होते थे, but you just pay like I don't know, less than 3,000 yen per month, which is very cheap because like how many days are there in a month that you go to school, and then all those lunch, it's very well planned menu that we eat in the school lunches every day. And it's cooked fresh every morning. So yeah, that's pretty much what we pay. Other than there are certain things like you save up for the school trip, but it's basically free practically.
Wow. So if we talk about lunch also, like 3,000 is nothing. तो बहुत ही मतलब lunch भी free है I would say, because the way they prepare food, or that is very nutritious. Because my daughter, she is getting her lunch in school. My son goes to Hoikuen. तो उनके वहाँ पे भी उनको बच्चों को खिलाते हैं जो एज के हिसाब से. So that is yeah, food is really good. So next मेरा क्वेश्चन है एजुकेशनल जर्नी पे ही, कि आपने बताया था पहले कि मलेशिया क्यों गए आप हायर एजुकेशंस के लिए?
So मैं बैचलर्स के लिए मलेशिया गई थी. The reason was that basically मैं घर से दूर रहना चाहती थी, and my parents also encouraged me to go out because high school के बाद मेरी plan clear नहीं थी. तो then I had my coming of age while I was not working or studying. So that time I traveled to Malaysia, and then I was thinking about future options, and it was kind of a difficult time for me not knowing what's gonna be my plan. And I went to Malaysia, and then I met a lot of people on my own without my parents.
Okay.
And that was a really good eye-opening experience for me.
Okay.
And I liked the country, and obviously Malaysia मेरा roots है, तो it's I thought it would be a good place to study, live, learn about my culture as well, my other half of culture.
एक चीज़ आपने मेंशन किया कमिंग एज, तो उसके बारे में थोड़ा सा बताओ व्यूअर्स को.
So basically हम जब 20 साल हो जाता है तो उसको coming of age कहते हैं. Basically we become adults legally, and we have even ceremonies for that, which the city organizes in pretty much all the cities. So yeah, that's what it is basically. You become an adult legally.
And there was news like a few years ago कि किमोनो खत्म हो गए थे.
हाँ, तो ये एक पता नहीं इंडिया में ऐसे कस्टम्स होते हैं कि नहीं, पर ये वही ओकेजन है जिसमें जो लोग पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे उनको ड्रेसअप करना ही होता है. Even the boys would wear the hakama, the Japanese traditional attire,
Right.
and the girls would dress up very properly, not properly, but very elegantly in Japanese, kimono.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when the coming of age ceremonies are happening, this can happen.
Yeah, because it's on same day. तो हर एक को वो किमोनो चाहिए, रेंटल या फिर हकामा, और it's quite expensive if someone wants to buy, right?
Yes, it's quite expensive.
Yeah.
But depending on the design and the quality as well.
Quality
But yeah.
and brand also. Yeah. Marisa, next I wanted to touch upon your professional life. तो प्रोफेशनल लाइफ में सबसे पहले शुरू करते हैं कि लैंग्वेजेस. पहले बताओ कितनी लैंग्वेजेस आपको आती हैं?
So मैं fluently पढ़ लिख सकती हूँ इंग्लिश और जापानीज़ में. बाकी थोड़ा दूसरे लैंग्वेजेस जो घर में बोलते हैं, जैसे कि पंजाबी है, हिंदी है. हिंदी तो वैसे बहुत कम बोलते हैं आजकल. और मैं जब अपनी मदर के साथ बात करते हैं तो उसमें like there are times when जब हम किसी की चुगलियाँ करना होता है या प्यार से एक दूसरे को डांटना होता है, तो उसमें बाकी लैंग्वेजेस जो हम शेयर करते हैं, जैसे कि मलेशियन और तमिल जो है, उसमें भी थोड़ा.
So like Japanese, English, Punjabi, Hindi, Tamil and Malay. So there are 6 languages, Wow.
Yeah, my core languages are basically Japanese, English and Punjabi, I would say now.
Okay. Yeah, we will come to that part also. Okay, great. But you were living in Japan till your high school. Then how did you learn all these languages? Like let's talk first about English. English आपने कैसे सीखी, और then Hindi?
English basically मेरी mother English teacher है, तो introduction तो वही से हुआ है. But I started speaking only when I went to Australia. That is जो high school में 1 साल का study abroad program थे. उसके बाद मैं English बोलना शुरू किया था. And English also because I was in university in Malaysia, वहाँ सब कुछ basically English में थे. तो that's how I use English or learned English, I would say.
Okay, and how about Hindi?
Hindi is actually a long story. So basically I learned Hindi through Bollywood movies, which is quite actually common for non-Indian or people who learn Hindi. I was just really crazy about. I think back then it was Hrithik Roshan.
Okay.
So yeah, I started watching Hindi movies, and then that's how I देखते बोलते pick up किया है. Or I think also I used to chat with people on Facebook. So that's how I practiced, I would say.
Okay, nice. तो बेसिकली ये कि इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज को लेके यहाँ पे अगर पेरेंट्स अपने बच्चों के साथ आ रहे हैं तो उनको इतना घबराने की ज़रूरत नहीं है दैट यू क्या होगा बच्चा अगर सिर्फ जापानीज सीखेगा. सो हेयर मरीसा इज़ एन एग्जांपल कि उन्होंने जापानीज से शुरू करके नाउ इंग्लिश एंड देयर आर मैनी फोर लाइक टोटल 6 लैंग्वेजेस शी नोज. तो इसलिए इतना घबराने की ज़रूरत नहीं है कि भी बच्चों को बाकी लैंग्वेजेस नहीं आएंगी, सिर्फ जापानीज आएगी.
या मैं एक बात बताना चाहती हूँ कि मेरे जो इंडियन एक दोस्त है, वो मतलब फुल इंडियन है. उनके पेरेंट्स इंडिया से हैं, पर वो बोर्न एंड रेस्ड जापान में, और स्कूल भी जापानीज स्कूल से पढ़ी है. बट वो बहुत अच्छी इंग्लिश बोलते हैं, मतलब इतना अच्छा इंग्लिश बोलते हैं कि शी वर्क्स एज अ लाइक ट्रांसलेटर, इंटरप्रेटर.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's really, I think, up to the family or the individual कि कितना इंटरेस्ट लेते हैं लैंग्वेज सीखने में या सिखाने में.
Yeah. So yeah, this is another point. Yeah, it depends upon your environment और पेरेंट्स पे बेसिकली वो क्या बच्चों को प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं. Okay, great. So next question is about your job at Indian Embassy. तो वो मतलब because it's a unique position. देखा है मैंने वहाँ पे मोस्टली फिलीपीन से हैं लोग एम्बेसी में काम करने वाले, या फिर इंडियन आते हैं विच आर लाइक गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल्स. तो हाउ वाज योर जॉब? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल हाउ डिड यू गेट दैट जॉब, और उसका लाइक क्या इम्पैक्ट पड़ा आपके एक्सपोजर पे अबाउट इंडियन कल्चर एंड ऑल?
Okay, so I first of all got the job through. I saw the post on social media, embassy social media, because they update about any vacancies and things like that. So I was looking for a job, and I said, okay, maybe I'll just give it a try. Whether I, pass the selection or not is a different matter. So I applied, and I had 3 levels of selection, which is the resume, and then the written exam, and then the interview. So I got selected somehow through all of that, and this position is kind of unique in the sense that even though it's Indian Embassy, the focus is that the person speaks Japanese and they know the Japanese culture well. So that's how they wanted a Japanese person, and somehow they felt that I was a fit candidate. The department that I was in, its main focus is to create a brand of India in Japan, and by culture, through cultural exposures. So definitely I was quite lucky, I would say, that I got to meet, for example, certain performers, dancers or musicians, mostly dancers, who are, in India, Padma Shri.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Any name you would like to mention here?
There was one Bharatnatyam, I think she was a Padma Shri, Meenakshi Chittaranjan.
Okay.
And also he's not a Malaysian, but I mean Indian, but he is I think Padma Shri, or I think Padma Shri. There's a very famous Odyssey dancer from Malaysia, and his name is Ramani Ibrahim. So, yeah, it was really cool for me knowing that these people, I already like heard of them before working in the embassy. Yeah, so.
Nice. Okay. कोई एडवाइस देना चाहोगे उन लोगों को जो इंडियन एम्बेसी में मतलब जॉब करना चाहते हैं? व्हाट आर द अपॉर्चुनिटीज यू लाइक फाउंड ओवर देयर वेयर, क्योंकि बहुत सारे इंडियंस हैं, स्पेशली आई वुड से इंडियन हाउसवाइफ्स, वो क्या कि एजुकेटेड होती हैं बट दे डोंट गेट जॉब इन देयर प्रोफेशन इफ़ दे वर वर्किंग बैक होम. तो उनके लिए अगर कोई है ऐसी अपॉर्चुनिटी या अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ इन इंडियन एम्बेसी, सो वुड यू गिव सम एडवाइस?
सो अभी इंडियन एम्बेसी में काफ़ी सारे पोस्ट्स आ चुके हैं, जॉब पोस्ट्स. It would be definitely be an advantage if you know Japanese language to a certain level. But in general, within the embassy, Japanese language की तो ज़्यादा ज़रूरत नहीं होते. I think if you're interested, why not go ahead and apply. It's an interesting place to work at, and at times you get to maybe not personally meet, but there will be ministers and politicians, diplomats coming from India. I think this year there will be a lot of that.
Okay.
I think Modi ji aa rahe hain shayad.
Okay. Modi ji is coming again this year. Great. How did you meet your husband?
So हम मलेशिया में मिले थे. I think it was like a friends gathering or something like that. फिर उसके बाद हम बात करने लगे और we liked each other.
Okay. So at that time
I was studying and my husband was working.
Okay.
Yeah.
तो आप क्या इंग्लिश में बात करते थे या फिर
इंग्लिश और हिंदी में ज़्यादा?
Okay.
हाँ. क्योंकि उस वक्त मुझे पंजाबी नहीं आती थी ना, तो कोशिश थी कि मैं हिंदी प्रैक्टिस करें. Otherwise, if there's like something important, we would always talk in English.
तो अभी you are married to an Indian. तो इससे कुछ आपका मतलब कह लो कि लाइफ में कोई चेंज आया है from cultural point of view or your lifestyle? Has anything changed?
लाइफस्टाइल में तो डेफिनेटली चेंजेस आ गए हैं. जैसे कि खाने की बात करते हैं तो मैं तो कुकिंग बहुत कम करती थी, मतलब पहले, पर क्योंकि हम वेजिटेरियन हैं तो भी साथ में रहकर कुकिंग करना बहुत ज़रूरी होता है, और ज़्यादा वेजिटेरियन डिशेस बनते हैं, इंडियन डिशेस. सो वी ईट अ लॉट ऑफ इंडियन फूड एज यू कैन इमेजिन. फिर जापानीज़ में भी हम वेजिटेरियन बनाते हैं सारा कुछ. सो दिस इज़ वन थिंग, एंड there are certain things that we do that I started only after meeting my husband. Like we go to the Gurdwara once a month, and we do whenever we try to work on our spiritual or religious aspect as well. हम पाठ भी करते हैं, माला भी करते हैं. So these things never existed in my life before meeting my husband.
Japanese plus I would say South Indian, and now you are married to North Indian.
Yes.
Wow, that's quite interesting.
And changes happened in my parents' house as well. क्योंकि हम वेजिटेरियन बन गए, मतलब मेरे हस्बैंड वेजिटेरियन थे पहले से, मैं बन गई हूँ. तो my mom really takes care of this whenever we go to my parents' house. She's like, you know, today I make this, all vegetarian.
वाह ओके
So parents बहुत ख्याल रखते हैं इस
ख्याल
बारे में।
रखते हैं इस चीज़ का ओके ओके आपने मेंशन किया वेजिटेरियन का बहुत सारे इंडियंस हैं जो जापान आना चाहते हैं बट दे आर वेजिटेरियन एंड दे आर लाइक बिट वरीड कि कैसे मैनेज होगा यहाँ पे तो उस पे थोड़ा बताओगे
So basically, if you know how to cook, you will survive. So that's not a problem. But अगर आप जैसे बाहर खाना पसंद करते हो ज़्यादा तो इसमें थोड़ा सा मुश्किल हो सकता है ख़ास अगर आप टोक्यो के बाहर रह रहे हैं then it will be a bit difficult to find options. But हमारे लिए तो because I know Japanese and I know like roughly how to check what they put in the foods that are provided in restaurants. So we have like certain restaurants that we go that we can eat and be satisfied. If you want to come to Japan, like it might be a good idea to be not so particular about food. Yeah.
Okay. But there are options.
There are options.
Maybe less, but there are options.
Yes, yes. ऐसा नहीं है कि बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. अगर आप साइज़ेरिया एक फ्रेंचाइज रेस्टोरेंट होता है उसमें भी काफ़ी सारे वेज ऑप्शंस मतलब है और yeah there are some other places like fast food places like Moss Burger में तो एक plant based burger है तो if it's another question you like it or not but there are options.
Right, there are options. तो जो वेजिटेरियंस हैं उनको घबराने की ज़रूरत नहीं है यहाँ पे ऑप्शंस हैं एंड यू विल सर्वाइव हैप्पीली
और एक और चीज़ की कोशिश करें कि अगर आप वेजिटेरियन हो और जापान आना चाहते हैं try to learn how to express your preferences and restrictions in Japanese. ये बहुत ज़रूरी होता है.
Okay, can you please tell some sentences just in case?
Okay, so for example, meat is niku, so niku nashi means no meat. Or if you don't want fish, sakana is fish, so sakana nashi. Or egg, tamago nashi. So you can just put those words together and say nashi. They will probably understand.
Okay, yeah, that's quite simple. Just learn some words. Meat को क्या कहते हैं, fish को क्या कहते हैं, and then put nashi word. And whenever you are ordering food, just tell this. जो यहाँ पे आना चाहते हैं as an immigrants या फिर as a working professional or a student, तो उनके लिए कुछ questions हैं मेरे इस section में, which I would like to touch upon. तो सबसे पहले क्या एडवाइस देना चाहोगे टू अडेप्ट कल्चर और जापान के लोगों में अपने आप को इंटीग्रेट करने के लिए व्हाट आर द फ्यू टिप्स?
ओके सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ये बहुत जनरल बात है लेकिन लैंग्वेज सीखना बहुत ज़रूरी होता है. इवन इफ़ यू डोंट राइट और रीड एटलीस्ट कोशिश करिए कि learn to speak, learn to express yourself in Japanese because ज़्यादातर लोग English नहीं बोलते हैं यहाँ. And come with an open mind when it comes to culture, learning the culture and integrating in the society in Japan. Chances are that you're not going to get the kind of comfort that you have in your home country. But there are a lot of good things about Japan. Like, for example, it's very clean and people are mostly civil. Like, you don't see fights going on in the streets or things like that. It's mostly safe. So, try to focus on good things, and just be positive about living here. I know it can be, some people say that it can be quite lonely when they come to Japan. Like for example, इंडिया में तो रिलेटिव्स की मीटिंग्स होते रहते हैं, फ्रेंड्स की मीटिंग्स होते रहते हैं, सोशल लाइफ भी काफ़ी अच्छे होते हैं. But when they come to Japan, let's say like in Tokyo, it's still like very busy, and you may not get as much time as in India to socialize. So these things, I think it's better to know, like do your research properly before coming, and so that you don't have to be like complaining about the life here in case it doesn't suit you.
Right. So come with open mind and zero expectations. This is what I posted my 11 years in Japan video. तो उसमें मैंने यही चीज़ मेंशन करी कि if you want to enjoy this beautiful, safe and clean country, तो open mind के साथ आओ, zero expectation, curiosity के साथ आओ, that we are going to learn something new about people, about culture. So it
and
would be
the language aspect, it's really important. I know for a lot of foreigners, learning Japanese is quite difficult, but it can really change your life in Japan if you know Japanese. People will be more friendly, definitely. They will not hesitate as much to talk to you, and so it's very general, but it's very important to learn language when you come to Japan.
Are there some similarities between India and Japan from cultural point of view? If yes, can you please mention a few?
So based on my upbringing part, there are similarities like respect for elders. I think in my childhood, in my upbringing, I think my parents tried to teach us this. And in India, I found that people are very respectful. The youth is quite respectful of their elders. So this is one similarity. And what else? Culturally, there will be culturally or religiously even, because we one of our main religions in Japan is Buddhism. So Buddhism comes from India. So this is actually how the embassy tried to get people to relate to India. The Buddhist, the culture that originates from Buddhism, I think it's one of the similarities.
Right. And when you mention about learning language is very important. So do you think it would be easier for Indians to learn Japanese language because that sentence formation, grammar, that is similar to Hindi and Punjabi Indian languages except English?
So I think that I've seen quite a few people, not only from India but from other South Asian countries as well, that they may not be as comfortable in English as they are in Japanese. Like for example, when they stay in Japan for a long time, they're actually very good in Japanese. And I think, like you mentioned, the grammatical similarities that do help. And also basically हमारे जो साउथ एशियन लोग होते हैं मल्टीलिंगुअल होते हैं, तो लैंग्वेज पिकअप करना उनके लिए ज़्यादा मुश्किल नहीं होते हैं. This is what I observe.
Next question है are there some Japanese cultural nuances which you think कि Indians को Japan आके उन चीज़ों का ध्यान रखना चाहिए because that will help them for a smoother life in Japan?
So it's difficult to say. I don't know how to express this in a non-offensive manner, but Japan is not necessarily a culture where, you know, you should communicate whatever you think. There are a lot of things that are not said, and if you want to, let's say, give a feedback about something, there are certain ways that you convey, and it can be quite, in Japanese language, can be quite indirect, I would say. So yeah, I think these things are something to be worth to be mindful about. Also, punctuality. Yeah. I understand that, like not only in India, but some Japanese actually tend to think that foreigners are not punctual. So I don't think that's true. Like I've seen a lot of punctual foreigners in Japan. They're just normal. But yeah, punctuality is very important.
Right. And as Marisa mentioned, like Japanese think कि भी foreigners punctual नहीं होते. अगर आप punctual हो, then this will help you to impress Japanese people. कि हाँ जी एक foreigner होके he is in time. तो ये बहुत बड़ी बात रहेगी. So be punctual. How do you feel as a dual?
Okay, so to be honest, I think I'm still finding my way. Like after growing up in Japan and then experiencing my other part of the culture, which is like India and Malaysia later in my life. And I'm still learning about my Japanese part, the Japanese culture, as well as the Indian or the Malaysian part. So it's stimulating, I would say. Yeah, and I don't think I am a very Japanese person, but I still live in Japan, so it can be difficult. Like sometimes, because what happens is my interest in the South Asian part or the Malaysian, like Southeast Asian part is very deep. I really like Indian culture. I really cherish my Malaysian side. So, and at home, basically, it's just the two of us. I don't go out much. I don't really have many friends in Tokyo. So, sometimes it's as though my Japanese part gets, how to say, it's like diluted. Not diluted, but I identify more as the other part, like Indian and Malaysian. So yeah, it's about balancing out, learning how to balance my my identity.
Okay.
Like cultural identity. Yeah.
So if someone asks you like, who are you? Then what do you say?
So basically, I'm a Japanese person, so I would say like I'm Japanese, but I know because usually I understand what their intention is when they ask me this question. So like I would say like, oh, I'm Japanese, but I'm half Malaysian Indian, or yeah. Depending on the person who's asking, I would sometimes just to have like a familiarity between that person, I would say, like for example, if the person asking me is an Indian, so I would say like I'm half Japanese, I'm half Malaysian Indian, like I would give the full description basically. Yeah, so if let's say the person asking me is Malaysian, then I would say like simply I'm Japanese, but I'm half Malaysian. Yeah.
Okay, because from your appearance, you don't look like Japanese as you
Yeah.
mentioned. So, did you get any advantage of this in Japan?
I'm not sure if it can be an advantage, but I think I sort of got my first job because of it. In my first job, I was an ALT, so they actually wanted someone who's had more than 10 years of education, schooling in English, which I didn't have. But because I think it's partly because of how I look, and because of my academic qualification, I got a job as an ALT. ALT stands for Assistant Language Teacher, which is basically an English teacher who goes to schools in Japan to teach English or assist in teaching English.
और ऐसी कोई स्टोरी है जहाँ पे like maybe you are traveling or you are somewhere between Japanese people और उनको नहीं पता कि आपको जापानीज आती है ऐसा कोई है इंटरेस्टिंग एक्सपीरियंस?
तो मैं जब मलेशिया में थी मैं काफ़ी कल्चरल पर्सन इन द सेंस दैट मुझे कल्चरल एक्टिविटीज़ में पार्टिसिपेट करना अच्छा लगता था. तो मलेशिया में काफ़ी सारे जापानीज़ होते हैं और जापानीज़ इवेंट्स भी होते हैं. One of them is it's a very big event in nearby Kuala Lumpur, the capital. There is Bon Odori. So Bon Odori is basically like in Japan it's usually a summer festival thing where people dance wearing yukata and things like that. So I was I think it was not I was participating in some Japanese cultural event, and I wore my yukata. Like I dressed up properly in a yukata, everything. I had my pouch, like everything, and people were like commenting on my yukata. They were commenting mostly good things, but it was just funny because like they just assumed that I don't know Japanese. So yeah, it was. Yeah, these things happen. Yeah.
What are your future plans, personally or professionally?
Professionally, I am still searching for the answer, so to say. At the moment, I'm not working, so I take this as an opportunity to do more learning, be it languages, be it, I don't know, skill, maybe IT skill, I don't know. But I try to, look into the learning options. I don't know if we will be in Japan 5 years later. Yeah, try to just keep learning about different things, and so that I can be prepared in, wherever I may have to work, be it Japan or overseas. Yeah.
And what do you think, will you take advantage, or I would say utilize this multicultural background in your professional career, or you just want to focus on some technical skills purely?
So if there is a platform that allows me to, learn some technical skills, for example, and at the same time utilize my cultural understanding or cultural knowledge, language knowledge, then that would be the best.
And in the last, if someone wants to reach out to you, where they can contact you?
Okay, so I do have social media accounts. I am not very active though. If you message me, for example, on Instagram, then yeah, you can reach out to me, you can talk to me. I would probably accept your request.
Okay, great. So yeah, thank you so much, Marisa,
Thank you
for
so
your
much for
time.
having me.
and it was really great talking to you. I hope this has clarified many doubts and you have answered so many questions which will help Indians to come to Japan, to raise their family in Japan, and be part of the Japanese culture. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.